So you're podcasting with your friends the other day.
Welcome to the Pause Rewind Play podcast. We're back with another exciting episode. As you can read the title, it's on The Man of Steel. Dun dun dun.
Dun 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 dun.
What is that?
It's a Superman theme.
Not from this movie.
No, not from
It's from the original guy who fell off the horse movies, right?
Yeah, Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve. I want to say, I was like just thinking Keanu, and I was like, he's not Superman. He would have been. He would have been great though. But welcome back, anyhow. We're back. We're here to talk Man of Steel, as I said earlier, and we got the whole crew in the house. We got Josh over in this corner.
What up?
We got Vince over in this corner.
Ding ding ding.
We got yours truly here on this little station. We've been prepping up for the Snyderverse. For those of you who know.
Yeah, Snyder Cut coming out March 18th. Countdown. We're pulling the chain off pulling the chains apart.
Ooh.
You know, I would not actually doubt if Vince had like a paper chain in his room, just like cutting one every single day. One more day closer to the Snyder Cut.
I'm so hyped, man. I'm following like every tiny bit of information that gets released, and I can't tell you how many times that I've texted my friend, what? Like, that's literally my text every time, because there's all this like little bit of information that keeps coming out about the Snyder Cut that's just absolutely ridiculous, that isn't going to make it into it. Like today's like, what information was that Zack Snyder at one point wanted Bruce Wayne and Lois Lane to have a relationship in the Justice League movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I was like, what?
It's like, hold up.
I don't feel like that would play very well. I've been liking the sneak peeks, like the images of Steppenwolf.
Uh-huh.
He looks brutal.
Looks way better now, huh?
Yes, Steppenwolf does look way better.
And we got the new Batman black and white photos and the new Joker photo, and we got the trailer that came out with the tease with the Joker and Batman having a moment together.
Guys, I am so pumped. I am over here. Like, when I saw that, I leapt up in my chair in my office. I was like, what? He's here? And he doesn't look like a friggin' clown. Like, don't get me wrong. That was pretty cool, but I'm here for this one. Long hair, looking creepy like he's in an asylum.
Got the damage tattoo off of his forehead, and I'm assuming he's not going to have the neon green hair and the grill, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, maybe he's just locked up, and maybe he got like a tattoo removal. It's a thing.
Don't get your expectations too high, though, because apparently it's just one scene with him. He's not going to be in it a lot. This is an extra scene that they wrote and filmed post, like in these like reshoots and stuff. And Zack Snyder came out and said that he was sad that in the DCEU, the Joker and Batman these two versions of Joker and Batman never had a scene together, and so he wanted to make that happen. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be one scene, one conversation. He's not going to play a big role, but I'm sure it's going to be great, whatever he does in it.
Just a moment. Just enough to like make everyone freak out and make everyone, buy HBO Max who doesn't already have it.
It got me excited to see Jared Leto back, and I didn't think that was possible.
Did you see The Little Things?
No, I mean Jared Leto back as the Joker, like his version of Joker. But no, I didn't see those things yet.
I don't know. I'm excited for this, and even though it's just going to be one scene, like looking forward to seeing that. But you guys know me. I was never the biggest fan of the Suicide Squad, and it's not that Jared Leto was bad. I just didn't love it.
I'm looking at you with the most soulless eyes I can muster now.
Okay.
See, and I'm one of the people who I knew that Justice League was garbage, and I enjoyed it anyway. It's like, that's me right here, because it was good fan service in a way for me, but I was like, this sounds really terrible, and I want people to know I appreciate and worship and sit at the feet of Heath Ledger's Joker, like 100%. But I'm just ready for a new leaf of the Joker, and I think we deserve that, and that's where I'm at. Like, I don't watch enough of the animated Batman series to like be like, oh, new Jokers. I want a big screen cinematic monster that is the Joker, and I would like it to be inspired by some of the cartoons. That's what I want.
I just feel like there's not going to be anything really new like that for a while, just since they've had the Joker movie with Joaquin. They have, this. Is the new Suicide Squad, does that have a Joker?
I don't think so.
I was about to say, I haven't seen anything about it, so
No, I don't think so.
I don't think there's that. And, with new Robert Pattinson Batman movies, they're going towards it's the Penguin, right? In the first movie, what they're doing. So I think it would take a while for them or any other thing that comes out Batman related to sort of circle back to the Joker as far as a big cinematic experience in the coming years. So I could be crazy, there could be something that's coming besides this, but I think you might just have to wait for a little while on that one case.
Which is fine. Let him breathe.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but like I said, I just am ready for a new leaf of the Joker, is it? And when it comes, and I'll be grateful for it. But let's move forward. We've been talking about this universe, but let's talk about what we've been watching. We're going to start out in this corner with Josh.
I've actually been watching a lot. It's been a little bit since we podcasted last, so really quickly. TV show-wise, haven't been watching too much other than we have Peacock through our cable provider, which we have to have through our apartment and stuff. So I've been watching, they have extended cuts of the entire season 3 of The Office. So it's basically those 22-minute episodes. It's turned into 28-minute episodes for each one, just with scenes that have been cut out that haven't really been seen before. So those are pretty interesting. It's cool to see other stories going on in the background and learn things that you didn't know before. The Mandalorian, I'm in season 2. Watching it, loving it, super great. WandaVision, my friend got me to not do my usual thing and wait till the whole thing's out to watch it, but he makes me now suffer with him waiting each week for the new episode to come out. So I'm caught up there, and it's freaking crazy and amazing, and I'm loving it. They're Catherine Hahn, Elizabeth Olsen, they're all doing amazing. Super, super good. And then I'm just going to run through really quick. There's
I just want to say that WandaVision has exceeded expectations.
Oh, 100%. What do you think, Vince?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I didn't like the twist of the last episode that came out, but I don't want to spoil anything. We can talk about this later.
I enjoyed the twist.
Do you know about it?
I just know what happened. I don't know anything about.
All right. I'll have to send you something that Cade sent me, because I was very much in your same boat. I was like, okay. But then he sent me an explanation, because I guess he's on these Disney and Marvel Reddit boards and stuff. And so there's more to it than
okay. And this is what I've learned when it comes to Marvel. Don't judge until
you know.
Yeah, exactly. Because they've proven time and time again, they know what they're doing. And even though that it took a turn that I didn't want it to, I wanted it to go a certain direction and it didn't, I have full faith that they're going to stick the landing on this, like they've done with almost every one of their movies. For sure. So I don't really want to read that thing because I want to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, don't send it to me.
If it was something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier that wasn't hinging on the mystery like this one is, I'd probably want to watch it or read it or whatever. But this one, the mystery is what keeps me going with it.
That's cool.
And so the fact that I don't know anything makes it more fun.
And it says that these last 2 episodes that are come out are going to be an hour long each. So we can just imagine some sort of...
So you mean actually 30 minutes with 30 minutes of outros?
Oh my goodness. The freaking... The ads. Goodness gracious. Or not the ads, the credits.
You got to see who in Sokovia worked on the movie.
Hey, man. Boonch, because Sokovia. So, yeah, that's been killing it for me. I'm super excited for the last couple episodes. Movie-wise, I've seen a lot of good, a lot of great, a lot of meh. I watched Crawl. I don't know if you guys ever saw
the alligator movie, right?
Alligator movie, yeah. I was expecting it to be 1,000,000% cheesy, and it was only 37% cheesy. It was actually really good. I was extremely surprised. It was pretty freaking good. Yeah. I saw Greenland because I'd been wanting to watch it. It's a movie with, you can cut this out, I don't remember his name, Gerard Butler. Is that his name? Irish. He's in P.S. I Love You with Hilary Swank.
That's exactly who that is.
Is that it? Okay. So it's basically about him and his family. There's this comet that's supposed to be passing Earth. It ends up hitting it, and people are saying there's like a big one coming that's gonna like destroy the earth, but they hear about these like secret like bunkers in Greenland that he's trying to get his family to, but only some people are selected to go. So it's just like it's sounds a big old thing that happens.
Sounds like 2012.
Very like kind of like it's like a very like apocalyptic like event, but it also goes pretty strong into like character development about like what people do like in this sort of like time of crisis, like and you're just trying to like save like anyone that you love like however you can. So it was pretty good. Like it wasn't amazing by any means, but I definitely liked it. I probably, because I've been waiting because it was only available to rent for like $20 for the longest time because it released digitally. They finally dropped it to like $6, but still just to rent, and so I did it then, and I was like, okay, it was pretty good. Like I probably should have waited until I could have either like bought it for that much or rented it for like $2 or something. So all right, I'll go through these last ones really quick, even though these ones are kind of some of the best ones. I'd never seen it before, but I'm going to watch Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max. So I watched Kong Skull Island, which has a freaking stellar cast. Like, who never told me about this movie? Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson. Like, how are there so many stars in this same movie?
And directed by Guillermo del Toro, right?
Exactly. Like, what the heck? It was great. I loved
Session
it.
time, I saw it in the worst way possible on an airplane on a little tiny screen.
Man.
But it was still fun because we were flying back from Hawaii and we actually like walked through where the set was for a lot of it. Saw a big old like the bones and stuff is still out there where they shot it. So
That's awesome.
It was on the way home. I was like, oh, I should watch this now that I've been
now that I've been there. Should watch it. That's awesome. Yeah, it was really, really good. Then some more, you guys know me and I love my award season and the Oscars and everything, so I've been kind of trying to catch up on some of those. My wife and I watched Promising Young Woman on her recommendation, and it was excellent. I feel really bad, I don't remember her name, but the main actress who everyone's saying is going to get nominated for the Oscar for Best Actress, deserves it 1,000,000%. Really interesting, surprising, and keeps you like on like ethical fences like the whole time. So I really enjoyed it. Minari with Steven Yeun, also really, really good. I was surprised. It was like a little different than I thought. It's like a different, like sort of like a different telling of like an immigrant version of the American dream and everything that happens there. Really slow moving, but also really beautiful. And the soundtrack and the cinematography and the story that it tells is really moving as well. And oh, just kidding. No, and that's it. Sorry, I took like a way long time. I just have been watching a lot of stuff lately.
It all sounds like good stuff. Was it you that was streaming like the live A24 film the other night? Was that
Yes. So when I watched Minari, it was, so they released it in theaters, but it was only, I think there was one in Salt Lake that had it, and then one in like, I think it was one in Provo or something. So neither of those were close to me. So they also had what they called like virtual showtimes, which is basically just like you buy like a ticket, which was like $20. And then you have like a 4-hour window where you go to like the A24 site and you can watch the movie. And so that's what I did. I invited my buddy over and we watched it together. And it was good because they also had like, because the reason that they don't do that a lot of times is because there's a really like high chance of like piracy and stuff like that with people doing it. So what they do is on your recording, and it's not super big or annoying, so you can still enjoy the movie, but they have your name and like the email address you used to book the ticket and like phone number, and it doesn't like bounce, but like it moves around like the screen at different parts of the movie. So that if you do try to record it, either your name will just be there, easy to report, or like if you're going to try to edit that out, there's just going to be like
black spots
or like extremely rough editing as it moves around. So I thought it was really smart and it was really good.
So I actually had a question about this because I read about it a little bit, and I think that's the future of movies, like movie releases, if this continues for a long time, because like not everyone's willing to go to the theater. Like, I miss the theater, don't get me wrong, but I also don't really want to go back until I feel safe that nobody's going to come infect me.
I feel like I miss the theater, but I've also, because I feel like terrible saying this because, you know, like we're like movie podcasts and we love movies, and we know that there's definitely some movies that you have to experience on the big screen. There's some movies that they're coming out and you definitely still want to see them, but it's just like not that much worth it. Like what HBO Max is doing right now. Like, there's going to be a ton of movies that I would have gone to the theater before that now it'll be available the exact same day on HBO Max. And like some of them, I'll still say, okay, I'm not going to watch this on HBO Max or whatever. I'm going to go to the theater. Like, I don't think it's Warner Brothers. I think it's Paramount. But like when A Quiet Place 2 comes out, I don't care if it's same day streaming. And if the only theater I can see it in is in Salt Lake, like I'm going to go to that theater and watch A Quiet Place 2. Like I'll wear my mask. I'll do everything because I think that theater experience will be worth it. Like The Little Things and Judas and the Black Messiah. Those are available on HBO Max. And I watched them, which is another one I watched. I forgot. Judas and the Black Messiah. Also really good.
It's on my list. Don't spoil it.
I won't. It's good. It's great. You saw it? So, yeah. So, like, things like that. Like, I can watch it at home without having to go to the theater. So, I think that movie theaters can't go away. I will be extremely depressed if they do, but I think they'll come back limited.
Yeah, well, that's my thought process. Is I don't think they're going to come back as in like there's a movie store 5 minutes from a theater 5 minutes from me. Like, I think it's going to be more like you're going to have to make an event out of it to go to it. I think that's what's going to happen because a lot of these guys can't keep up the real estate forever. But anyhow, Vince, what'd you watch?
So I guess I have to recognize the intro of today's podcast.
Yeah, what is that?
Have you guys ever heard of a little show called Letterkenny on Hulu?
Yes.
You mentioned it last time, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Or on our chat thing we have.
It's so freaking funny. I have binged the entire series since the last time we talked. It's 9 seasons. They're only like 7-episode seasons. They're 20-minute episodes. But it is fantastic. I cannot recommend it I cannot give it higher recommendations. Like, I absolutely loved it. Every episode was funny, easy to jump in and out of. It's very quotable, has some of the best running jokes. I watched the whole thing by myself, and usually when I watch comedies, I don't really like laugh out loud or like have, hearty chuckles, This show had me just like audibly, legitimately laughing out loud for like 30-second intervals, just like, oh my gosh, they're really doing this again, or oh my gosh, that was so funny,
You said this is on Hulu?
It's on Hulu.
See, I've seen like a ton of random stuff about it and like memes and stuff, but I'm like, I haven't watched it.
It's so good. And that's how they start every one of the episodes. It's the main character, Wayne, and he always goes, they're always doing something. You're having a puppers with your friend the other day. You're out playing backgammon the other day. And it always starts like that. And they have this like intro, and it's just, they're funny. They're so funny. So check that out, both of you guys. You'll love it.
Letterkenny on the list.
I gotta get to these things that Vince recommends. I know Dave has been on my list for forever.
Oh, yeah, you should see Dave.
And I've been listening to more Lil Dicky recently, and so it's just been top of mind. So both of those, I need to get to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which one should you watch first? I'd probably say watch Dave first because there's only one season of it, unless maybe you want to break up Letterkenny. But both of them, I would say, get on them fast because they're easy to jump into.
Nice.
Other than that, I saw Judas and the Black Messiah, like you said, absolutely great. I watched the Five Bloods.
Yes!
Like the first half of it. Got bored during the second half of it.
It was a long movie.
Yeah,
I had to break it up. I watched it twice in 2 sittings.
I really liked up until they found. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is they're going to find their friend's dead body, right?
Yeah.
Find the gold. That's in the trailers.
Yeah.
Really liked it up until they found the gold. And then after that, I kind of slowly lost interest until I was checking my phone. Like, how much longer is this?
Yeah. So I strategically planned that movie for 2 sittings because I knew I would get bored. It's like Lord of the Rings extended version, okay? I can watch them as long as I take a break. Other than that, I'm like, swooping through, So it's just like one of those things. So I hear you. That was a long movie, but I'm glad you watched it because I enjoyed that film a lot. And I've thought about it. I think Chadwick Boseman, his role in it was amazing. And I know that everyone's like singing praises to Chadwick Boseman, he's dead now, but like he did really good. And he is like an actor that like, he's like Heath Ledger, right? Like gone too soon for sure in his movie career.
If you like him, you should also watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
That one's on Netflix as well, right?
Yeah, I watched that over Christmas break, and he freaking kills it in that show. He's so good. Same with Viola Davis.
That's the one they say that he is gonna get nominated for for best. I think it's would he be a supporting actor in that? I haven't watched it yet.
I think he'd be
best actor.
I think he'd be best actor role.
And people were saying that because that one's been out for a little while, and so I think it came out even before he had passed away. I don't remember, but I think even before any of that happened, people were like, "Oh yeah, like Chadwick Boseman's been sort of doing a lot of stuff for a while," but they were like, "This is it. Like this is like his performance that he deserves recognition for." You know?
Yeah, he did excellent. The only other thing I want to bring up is check out the movie Wolf Walkers on Apple TV Plus or whatever they call it. It's an animated movie. I can't remember.
Is that the one with this is the girl who like goes in and like is like, am I thinking the same thing? I think I am. I watched the preview for this. It's an animated one. And who's the dad in that who has like, they're not.
It's Ned Stark.
Sean Bean. Yeah, I watched the preview for this and it looked so good. And I was debating whether or not to watch it.
Fantastic.
Really?
The animation style and the artwork in it is just mesmerizing to watch. It's back. It's all hand drawn, you know, and it's kind of that like, it kind of like it has that look of like unfinished at times. You know,
feels like Samurai
like
Jack.
when a wolf turns around, you can kind of see the outlines of where the circle started because it literally is hand drawn every single time. And the way that they've like even drawn landscapes and stuff is very creative. It's just so much fun to watch, and the story is really good too. It's about this little girl and her dad who move into this walled up city in I can't remember if they're English and they moved to Scotland, if they're Scottish and moved to England. I can't remember. I'm mixing the two up. Anyway, they moved there. Her dad is a wolf hunter. She wants to go out and hunt wolves with him, but she's supposed to be like a lady and keep the house clean and not go out on these adventures and stuff. And so she follows her dad out into the woods and gets into trouble and runs into this other little girl who has the power to turn into a wolf when she sleeps. And they develop this friendship, and it's just really, really, really good. And I'd say check it out. There's not a lot of great stuff on Apple TV Plus, but this is one of them that you should see, and it's the only place you can find it.
Have you rewatched C since you watched it the first time?
No. When's season 2 going to come out? Is it ever going to?
It's supposed to. I know, like the dude Jason Momoa, Aquaman, he talked about it, but I don't know. I know it was renewed, but I watched it a second time. And it was better the second time because I had an understanding of the world. And so I wasn't world building the whole time. I could pay attention to other details. So Apple TV, not the greatest invention.
It's got a couple of things.
Yeah.
The Central Park's really good from the animators who did Bob's Burgers. It's like a musical cartoon. Like Ted Lasso. Have you guys watched Ted Lasso yet?
Oh,
another
I've been wanting
sitcom
to.
that you guys should definitely watch about a football player who moves to Europe to coach like a soccer team out there. It's Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, right. Jason Sudeikis. I've seen it.
It's funny. It's
The
freaking funny.
ad for it. It looks hilarious.
And it's just like unashamedly optimistic.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that? Like just is the most...
The opposite of cautiously optimistic. I guess not the opposite since it's both
maybe I'm wording
optimistic.
that wrong. Just basically it's the most optimistic show. Like the guy is just happy no matter what happens. His life is falling apart, and Ted Lasso just is still a happy guy and can just deal with it and make everyone's life around him better. It's the perfect quarantine movie. It's a perfect 2020 TV show.
Okay. I'm going to watch it because it's been like something that's been driving me nuts.
Unabashedly, is that the word I'm looking for?
I have
Unabashedly
no clue.
optimistic?
I think that's right.
Anyway.
Think you're right.
What have you been watching?
I've been watching a lot. I watched Captain America, The Winter Soldier, to bring that up. I watched
Prep for the new series.
Age of Ultron again.
James Spader.
Because I couldn't not hear Robert California the whole entire time, which was super irritating because my wife brought it up and I didn't mind it the first time, but now I'm like, freaking Robert California.
I knew that they had like people like doing actions for like Ultron or whatever, but I didn't know that it was him with like the face cam and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when they were doing that. That's just insane to me.
Well, can we talk about this thing I sent you the other day really fast while we're talking about it? Freaking Rocket Raccoon and how much...
Oh my god.
Do you remember that?
And he's been... Because that was like total sums of money, right?
Yes.
And he's been in less movies.
Okay, so let me read this, Vince, because I think it would be good for you to get context here and for everyone else. So I sent
I
this...
love that we're doing this on like the DCEU one.
Yeah, but I've been watching a lot of both, but essentially, so this is like the rumorations of Avengers after Endgame, like how much they made. So Chris Hemsworth, he made $76.4 million. Then it goes Robert Downey Jr., $66 million. Then it goes Bradley Cooper as Rocket, $57 million. Then you got ScarJo at 56, Chris Evans 43, and Paul Rudd at 41. But how the heck did Rocket Raccoon make so much money?
Yeah, all he did was the voice too. He didn't even come on set and act it.
Exactly, because it's James Gunn's brother who does like the animatronics and crap. But so anyhow, I just had to bring that up. I also have been watching WandaVision. So excellent, so good. We also watched the other night I Care a Lot on Netflix, which is hilarious. It's not hilarious. I shouldn't say that. It's dark. You should watch it. It's great. It's essentially...
Oh, the lady who's scamming the old people.
Yes, that's it. I didn't want to
Oh, I did see that trailer.
That's in the commercial, right?
Yeah.
That's out?
That's not spoilers.
Yeah, it's not spoilers. I just didn't never know, like, did I hallucinate that? But that's great. You should watch that.
What's it called?
It's called I Care a Lot. And then just to kind of go into some nostalgia here, just for me, I purchased and watched The Transporter 1 and 2, excellent films. And then I watched Interstellar because I was really needing a fix of like just out there. And then I put in my headphones. I've been telling you guys about like the Windows Surface headphones. I got the Surface 2 headphones or whatever they are, the newest ones. Amazing sound. It was so good. I enjoyed myself. And that's what I've been watching. A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. Enjoying life. That's it. Now let's get into this DC film, Man of Freaking Steel.
Yay.
Wow.
Sorry, I closed the app.
You guys are sounding kind of boring. But anyhow, we got
I just was trying to like get it out there that I mean, like, this has been up and coming for a long time. We've been doing this podcast for what, 1.5 years?
No, dude, we're going on 2 years.
Oh my goodness, we're getting close to 2 years.
Yeah.
And we have always butted heads, at least me and Vince, saying Man of Steel was bad, Man of Steel was good, like, and all of this different stuff. So when this finally came up, we're prepping for the Snyderverse. We're finally watching Man of Steel like we said we would for a long time. I literally went in with, I kid you not, I swear, the most like open I've been to like reconsidering a movie because I'd only seen it twice, like once in the theater and one time after that. And I was like, okay, and it's been a really long time. I can be missing stuff. I don't know a ton about like the DCEU or whatever, so like I need to be like paying attention and just trying to do my best, like see if I can get it to change. It didn't change, guys. I don't like this movie very much. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't want to start off like that, but that I just want it to be clear.
Do you know what pirates do to a mutinous crew? You walk the plank, man. Get out of here. Like, that's how I'm feeling about this right now. It's okay. I respect you still, but I don't agree with your opinion on this.
You still have however long to convince me that I was wrong about the movie. But that we'll be talking, but that was just like my feeling coming out of it again.
Okay, well, Vince.
So, in me, on the other end of things, I've been defending this movie till the day I die. I rewatched it the other night, and I hate this movie. I'm just kidding. I absolutely love this movie.
What?
I just about shit a brick. I was like, am I going to have to stand here and defend this movie by myself? Because I took notes today while I rewatched it.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
ready this time. I come prepared, but I also have questions.
Great.
So
No, I love this movie. Zack Snyder is he's got a style, and his style I love it. And I know they're not like the best stories. Like, none of these movies have the best stories around. It's all very much visually told. There's not a lot of dialogue. Like, this movie, straight up, at least the first half of it until Zod shows up on Earth, is a montage at best of Superman's greatest hits, like his origin story. It's a montage. It's just voiceovers and beautiful imagery, you know? I mean, look at that freaking Henry Cavill. Beautiful imagery. Him running out of the water, that giant freaking physique.
He's not even talking
Man's a
about the
work of
background.
art.
No, and I so there's a few things that I went through, and while I still ended up not loving the movie, there's a few things that you can't deny about the movie. One that you just mentioned, the imagery, the cinematography in this film is freaking gorgeous. It is amazing. It is so beautiful. And my number one thing that I love about this film, can you guys guess what it is?
No.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yeah.
This score is incredible. Like this, I don't remember what it's called, but like the main theme that they have, like, I suck when I do this, and I always like listen back and I'm like, this is so cringy, but I'm going to do it again. Like the main theme, like when he's flying and doing this stuff, when it's like, doo, 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 like, oh my goodness. It is beautiful. I have this song like on my Spotify. I feel bad I don't remember it because I have it on there. Even with me not liking the movie so much, I have that song on my Spotify because it's so good. And the rest of the movie soundtrack is incredible as well.
And this coming from me, who I almost never recognize when I'm watching a movie whether or not I'm enjoying the score. There was a moment in this movie that even I was just like, "Frick, this is freaking banging. This is great," you know?
Yeah. I actually enjoy, like, when you described it there, like, I don't usually have words for it. I'm not quite as technical as you guys are when it comes to describing this stuff. I'm like off the hip bullshit. But like the soundtrack and the visuals in this really, like, it's like the sweet cream on top of like a cinnamon bun. It's just what you need. And it made the film better. And I love the story behind this, but if it wasn't for the soundtrack, the movie would suck. Let's be real. And if it wasn't for the visuals, but together they're just like wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about this movie is this is what I love about Zack Snyder in general. I can't really blame Zack Snyder for a bad story because it's David S. Goyer who wrote this. And actually Christopher Nolan helped him a lot with this story. Christopher Nolan was supposed to come in and direct, I'm pretty sure, or maybe he just had like, I can't remember if he's producing and just had a lot of hands-on stuff. But when Zack Snyder stepped in, it just changed everything. They just gave the whole project over to Zack Snyder using the story that they created. So you can't really blame, I mean, this is a Zack Snyder movie, it's a Zack Snyder whatever, but like he's not the one writing the stories. This is my defense of Zack Snyder.
Well,
I know his movies aren't the best when it comes to the screenplays, but visually, there's nothing that feels like his movies, especially in the world of superheroes.
Yeah.
Like it's always a dark, gritty, dramatic, artsy, cinematic, fun, visually pleasing experience. And that's what I loved about the DCU the most up until Batman v Superman. I guess up until Justice League, because I like the Batman v Superman extended edition.
Yeah.
But then they started trying to copy the Marvel formula, and it starts all these movies like the last Wonder Woman have just started becoming more generic, not as visually impressive.
Yeah.
Kind of just like, let's make these fun so everyone enjoys them, and it's kind of alienated the audience that loved these movies to begin with. And that's where us Snyder fans are. Snyder Cut fanatics.
Yeah.
At least for me, this is why I'm so passionate about the Snyder Cut, because when the Justice League movie came out, I felt cheated because I didn't get an ending to what was expected. It was just a complete like slap in the face because it was just so much different than what he had created before.
I have mad respect for you for saying that. I'm glad you didn't bring up Aquaman because I'm a fan, but like, I'm grateful that we're having this discussion because you're right. There are plot holes in this film. Like, Man of Steel is not a perfect movie, and I won't defend it in that way, but it was a good movie, and it was one that's rewatchable, and like, it's not like garbage that I recycle through, but it is like, it's worthy of a rewatch with like a good interest and a keen interest. And so, Josh, I know we're probably gonna harp on you, and I threatened to throw you off the plank of our ship. But like, I'm glad you rewatched it with an open eye. That's what I had to say. Like, that's it. Finger guns over here. You did it. But like,
you want me to run through the movie info real quick?
Yes, actually, yeah. Let's run through this movie info, and then we'll get into some questions.
So, Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder, written by David Goyer with help from Chris Nolan. Released June 14th, 2013, with a budget of $225 million. It grossed worldwide $668 million. Had a critic score of 56% on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score of 75%, and IMDb gave it a 7. The movie is starring Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill?
I thought it was Cavill, but
I've always said Cavill.
Okay, I've heard it both ways. Michael Shannon, Amy Adams, Kevin Costner, Diana Lane. Is it Diane or Diane Lane? I missed that one
Diane.
up too. Diane Lane, Russell Crowe, and Lawrence Fishburne. This one had a ton of... These people were considered for the roles. Like, so many of them as I scrolled
with it
down by
changing
IMDb.
hands so many times, it has to, right?
Yeah, some of the ones that kind of like pop out for me. Gal Gadot was originally cast as Feora, which is Superman's mom on Krypton. Thank goodness she didn't get that role because she was in the future cast as Wonder Woman and just absolutely nails that.
Or
Would have
just
been
makes for
such a
some
waste of
crazy,
talent.
like crazy cross.
The webs of theories and conspiracies.
Another interesting one was that Ben Affleck was actually considered to direct this movie, but he turned it down, saying that it was too heavily reliant on CGI and didn't feel qualified for it, so he turned it down, which I thought was interesting. Matthew Good, Armie Hammer, Matt Bomer, Joe Manganiello. I can't say his name. He's playing Deathstroke now.
Yeah.
Zac Efron and Colin O'Donoghue were all on the short list to play Superman before Henry Cavill
Zac
got it.
Efron?
Apparently. This,
No.
That's a no from me, dog.
again, this is all from IMDb. Who knows how true this actually is. There's no way for me
It's
to
like breaking out and
check.
singing. Like Efron's like proved himself in a lot of ways, but also High School Musical will play through.
Dennis Quaid, Bruce Greenwood, Michael Biehn, and Kurt Russell were all considered for the role as Jonathan Kent, which was interesting.
And it was Costner, right?
And Kevin
Who got
Costner
it?
ended up getting it, which, in my opinion, couldn't have got anyone better.
Well, he's like your straight up like Kansas dad to the max,
I
and
think-
he's so prolific in my
I think
mind.
Dennis Quaid's a solid number 2 there.
Ooh,
like,
okay.
like I could see that, but like
I could see that because
I think Kevin
often,
Costner is the number 1 though.
I could see that because I often get Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner mixed up. Like,
Okay.
I see Dennis Quaid and I'm like, oh, Kevin Costner. Nope.
Hold up.
Nope.
Only one of them danced with wolves, Vince. Only one of them.
Last couple: Julianne Moore, Lisa Riney, Jodie Foster, Celia Ward, Elizabeth Shue were all considered for Martha Kent, and for Jor-El, Sean Penn and Clive Owen were also considered. So just
Ooh.
tons of pretty much everybody in Hollywood had been considered for a role in this
For
movie.
this movie.
They're like, let's open the books here.
Jeez.
All of those were good options. I'm glad they did Cavill though.
I'm glad they did Cavill. What did you guys think about Michael Shannon? I love Michael Shannon. I don't know if you guys watched The Shape of Water, but I thought he was an excellent villain, bad guy in that. It was sort of more like artsy-ish than like big superhero, whatever. But he's like really, really good in a lot of things. I just felt like this wasn't his thing. I don't know. Sometimes, like maybe that's like just me. So he's bad guy, Zod, right? So he's Zod. Just sometimes like seeing him in that suit, like neck coming up and looking at him, I was just like, no, like this wasn't for you. Like that could have really just been me. That was the only thing that looking at this cast, which is just obviously chock full of all-stars, and there could have been even more or different ones. That was the only thing that in my mind I was like, nah, they could have picked a better Zod for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Who would you have recast?
I don't
as
freaking
Zod?
know. I'm just saying that's what I felt during the movie. I was saying I was looking at Michael Shannon as a Michael Shannon lover and saying I'm not feeling it.
I'm not trying to attack you. I promise.
I am trying to attack you. I'm going to make you feel bad by the end of this
You got
podcast.
it. You got it. Deal.
I liked him as Zod. I think that, like, okay, so here's something I wanted to talk about later, but we're in spoilers territory. This movie came out eons ago, like in movie time. But when they're having their big fight, right? I know I'm jumping way out here in the show. Like they're having their big fight at the end. Like that's just like for Kryptonians, that's just like two normal people. But what blows my mind is I don't think Michael Shannon was like jacked enough in this, like when he's like skinnier, and like then you got like Henry Cavill who's like yoked, and I was like, this doesn't seem even, except for that Zod's been bred for fighting and defending Krypton and making those decisions, but like I would have expected Zod to look way more yoked outside of his suit. Like that's really it. Like that was my only complaint about this actor who was Zod. I just wish he'd been more yoked. That's it.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
My in-universe explanation for this.
All right.
Off the cuff.
Lead me.
So I'm kind of like speaking off the top of my head here. Maybe, I mean, they said in the movie, and kind of the whole thing is like the reason they're so strong and powerful on Earth is because their environment, the Earth's environment is more harsh. The gravity's strong, like heavier, blah, blah, blah. Maybe in this universe, since Clark grew up in Kansas, his body kind of adapted and had to like build, because he looks like human, but his biology is different than ours, right?
Yeah.
So maybe absorbing all the sun rays, maybe having to stand in this harsh conditions of Earth just made him so freaking yoked. And because Michael Shannon didn't grow up on Earth, he hadn't absorbed that amount of strength, even though he is just as strong as him, because the environment changes them physically or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that would do it. If they were to fight on their ship in the Kryptonian environment, he wouldn't have stood a chance. Because look at the freaking size of Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
He's freaking huge in this movie.
He's so big. Like when like, oh gosh, yes, he's just a beast. Like, and that was the part I had a hard time with. I was like, Cavill would have destroyed half of these things, except for the one guy who's like the big Hulk-like one during the fight. But sorry, I had to go there because I was curious about it. Like I was like, no, that doesn't seem right. Like, and then like I have this, like I said, like it's like two normal Kryptonians is like two humans fighting on a street essentially, but their abilities are just magnified. So I don't know. It was like, that's it.
This is what I love about the movie is like it doesn't spend a lot of time worrying about those things. Like I said earlier, it's a montage of the greatest hits, you know, and you have to fill in a lot of these things on your own. It's not like a regular movie where they will tell you in dialogue exactly what's happening, or they will tell you in dialogue, one person talking to the other one, what someone is thinking. You just have to like put yourself in the shoes of that specific character to understand like the deeper or the bigger meaning of things, you know? Like for example, there's that scene where Superman is up in the Kryptonian ship and he gets knocked out, and the next thing you know, he's having like this vision where he's talking to Zod, and it's like out of nowhere, and it's like, wait, is he really having this conversation with Zod, or is this like all in his head?
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of like look at it objectively and be like, okay, this is probably a real conversation they had, but Zack Snyder, being the type of director he is, he's going to show you like a visual representation of what's going to happen. I mean, he kind of does the same thing in Batman v Superman with the nightmare scene.
Yeah.
Where he sees like a vision of the future, even though he actually sees a vision of the future in that one. So I guess maybe that's not a, you know.
Well, it's just about putting a context and like visual context to a like potentially boring or like kind of like easily easily ignored conversation, maybe.
Yeah.
Overlooked.
But because of that, and I think that's why I love this, because it feels so much different, is like I can look at Clark's character, and a lot of people like complain that this version of Superman is just so depressed all the time and he's not fun, and where's my colorful Superman who always knows and does what's right and is unstoppable and will go the extra mile to help a cat out of a tree, you know.
Boo.
I hate that version of Superman, and I can't relate to him. And in this movie, like, you see Clark, you see Superman in a different light, where he's relatable emotionally to where we are. You know, he's going through this like crazy experience of being literally an alien come to Earth and trying to cope with, you know, who he's going to be, because like his father says over and over again is, you're going to change the world. Whether you're going to be a great person, you're going to be a villain or something. No matter what you choose, you're going to change the world. And we just have to decide when the right moment for you to show yourself is. I love that. Like, and I love seeing Clark. He never really says it in the movie, but you see him like from the get-go just wandering, lost, aimless. And he doesn't like tell anybody that, but you see it through these like really cool moments throughout Clark's life of, I guess I'll go be a fisherman for a while. I guess I'll, you know, work in a bar. And he just has these moments where you can put yourself in his shoes, and Henry Cavill being the great actor he is, I feel like I can like relate to him a lot. And I feel like this is done through the entire movie until it gets to like the last 45 minutes when it just turns into absolutely ridiculous action, which is fun on its it's all fun too.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say for that is, yeah, exactly what you said. Like a character that is perfect, always knows what to do, like will never make a wrong decision. That's a boring character because no one's ever going to relate to that, especially when you talk about like terms of character development and caring about characters. Like I guess you could care about Superman because he's cool and he does all the right stuff, but like you're literally not going to really connect to anyone in an audience that way because that kind of person just doesn't even exist on Earth. So like obviously a person with that physical capabilities doesn't exist on Earth, but giving them, you know, real human stories that he goes through on his quest to becoming who he becomes, that's like something that at least makes it relatable and good. So
I feel like they did like a good service to viewers who are new to Superman as well in this, like by the way that they put forth like early start on Krypton like this, and then Henry Cavill's like Superman Clark Kent discovering like, oh, I have all these crazy things happening to me and I can see this like multi-dimensional things, like in X-ray you like do all this stuff, and like they like his mom has to come like tone it down, like figure it out, honing your senses and all of this. And like I think that was like a good way to do it, but I like a Superman who has questionable ethics, and it takes me back to Brightburn, which I wish was a better film all around. But I still believe that this led it up. This kind of sequential storytelling was pieced up well enough that when you got to the part where Superman has to make those decisions to save the people, to, you know, who's he's going to save, oh my gosh, I can't speak. I'm sorry, guys. How he's going to like react in these situations and fight, and what's he going to sacrifice and be willing to destroy versus who he's not going to be. It's like, it makes it very interesting because like when he comes across a field and like whack Zod when he's going after his mother, you know, and like then when he's like at the end when he's like has to make the decision to silence Zod finally for good against that family and stuff. It's like it's so interesting what he's chosen to save, because there's a huge death toll which we learn about in Batman vs Superman and beyond, and it's just kind of like, I like the way they said this. I think that this film was a good, like that dip of the toe in the water before you take the dive, in my opinion.
I was watching this movie and I got thinking like, why do I like this origin story, like you said, more than I like most superhero origin story movies? And I tried to put myself back in the year that the movie came out.
2013?
Which was 2013, which I looked up the Marvel movies. Iron Man 3 came out that year. Like the year before that, or maybe 2 years before that, we had Thor's origin story. We had Captain America's origin story. We had a Spider-Man reboot with the Amazing Spider-Man. And I was like, look at how much different this one is told. Mm-hmm. Specifically with the Amazing Spider-Man reboot. How tired are we of seeing over and over again Uncle Ben's story die? You know, Uncle Ben die over and over again. We've seen it 100 times.
Got to do Uncle Ben like that. Jeez.
I love Uncle Ben, but even Marvel recognized this with their Tom Holland version, where they just completely wrote him out of the movie. And this is what I like. Like you said, this is what I loved about this origin story so much. Is like, yeah, an hour of it is telling his coming to Earth story, showing Krypton and all that kind of stuff.
It's terraforming.
But it's not like telling it in this like sequence of this happens and this happens, this generic origin story. This is told in like, again, I keep going back to it, this beautiful montage of moments through Clark's life.
Yeah.
Finding out who he is, trying to decide how he wants to affect the planet, until he gets to this moment where his search for purpose, his search for meaning is forced, his hand is forced to show himself when Zod shows up. And holy crap, do I love that moment when Zod shows up. Because the tone of the movie just completely changes for like 2 or 3 minutes, where it becomes an invasion horror movie.
You are not alone in the universe.
Bro, it sounds like freaking Jigsaw on the screen there, like going all black and white and shit, and then changing to his voice that's all creepy. Yeah, it's like a straight up horror film all of a sudden. I did like that.
I loved it. And I'm kind of like, give me more of that, you know?
Yeah. Give us the darkness. Give us the fear.
This is everything that like we wanted Brightburn to be. Like Casey already brought it up, like that dark. Others, you know, obviously like in this one, Superman's going to be good, but like that sort of dark feeling, but with like the Superman powers and abilities, that's what I wanted.
And this is the problem with Zack Snyder movies. He's too ambitious. He's got too much packed into one movie. You know, this could have been broken up into at least 3 different movies. It could have been a Krypton movie where you saw the fall of Krypton. It could be politics. It could be all that kind of stuff.
That's what I want, though. That was on my list of things I wanted to talk about was we need a Krypton prequel right here. Like the 5 years before when they harvest the core and Jor-El's like stuff, like, right? And all of that. Like, I would go for that any day of the week.
I love it. But that's the thing, man. He's like, you got a Krypton movie there, you got an origin story movie there, you got an invasion story here, and then all of a sudden you have 2 gods fighting, you know, in a giant city story. Like and then the same thing happens in Batman v Superman. He just packs so much into one movie. Where I even read that the first cut of this movie of Man of Steel was like 3.5 hours long before they made him cut it back to this. It's just classic Zack Snyder of just he loves his slow mo and his overly bloated films.
He's like the Michael Bay of superhero films is what you're saying.
So what is it that you didn't like about it?
Yeah, good question.
I've said I like a lot of stuff about it. It's true. And so for me, I guess it would be, so he has like 3.5 hour movie, scales it back to 2.5 hours, right? So you think that there's a lot of stuff packed in there. I think the movie is slow. And that's a big part for me is like, and you know me, I love like a good slow movie, like when it tells the story little by little and it does its thing. This one was slow in a way that I felt at times that there was like 0 to no like progression, like in the entire time, like after he discovers the ship until like when Zod comes, like with that, like all they're doing is building the stuff with Lois Lane and he's just like, I'm trying to find out who I am and stuff like that. Like I felt like as far as like a story going along, like it felt very slow during that part. So much that I won't lie. Yeah, I was super tired, but I fell asleep during that part. Okay. I woke up, I rewinded it. I watched the whole thing. Don't think like that. I just was like, oh, my bad. And skipped it. Like I legit fell asleep during that part at like 2 p.m. on a Saturday, which like, yeah, it's like a Saturday napish time, but like, it's not like I was watching it at 2 a.m. or something. So I think it's slow. The big action scenes are like, you know, I can be either a sucker or I can be really critical of big action scenes a lot of times. It just really depends on the content of it and what's going on. I just felt kind of like, I don't remember what it was you're talking about. Well, when you described just like checking like your watch and being like, oh yeah, like let's get to the end. That's how I felt with this one. Like, okay, they're here. They're going to terraform the earth. Now it's going to be the big action sequence. And it really was just like just that. There was nothing other than like them fighting and talking. And it really wasn't anything new to say. And so I was just like, there's not a lot that I love here. And then the last thing that came to my mind, especially when Casey mentioned it, was like, I love a Superman who has like questionable ethics and different things like that. I love that. I didn't really feel that in this movie. And you guys can like tell me wrong. I feel like almost every decision that he makes in this is obvious. Like, you know, like there's never really a point where there's like a question, like turning himself in versus not, and they're going to blow up because he knows they can do it. You know, he's like, they're like me or screwed. Like there's never really like a question of him doing what's right there. And so I really agreed with you there. No, go ahead.
I agree with you. Because he's Superman, you always know he's going to make the right decision, and the right decision is like almost always obvious, with the exception of maybe him killing Zod at the end, which I want to get into that conversation soon.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I like about this is you see the struggle. You don't have the conversations about the struggle, but you see the struggle in Clark as he's trying to make these decisions. These flashbacks to his dad, his dad telling him over and over again that maybe it's better to let the world die than to show yourself, because if you show yourself, you're going to change the world. It would change everything if we found out an alien was on Earth. For 33 years, it would change global politics. It would change religious beliefs. It would change literally everything that we know about the planet, you know? And so Jonathan Kent recognizes this, and he might have given him bad advice by saying hide all these years, and, you know, maybe you should have let the bus of kids die. But he did it from a place of love for his son, worry for his son. He did it for worry for the planet. You know, he had his reasons behind it, even though they might not have been the best decision. But that's what I like about it, is like sometimes conversations can be a little on the nose. And in this one, those feelings are delivered more cinematically and visually than it is audibly.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
Well, and where I bring this in and where I'm like, oh, questionable ethics, right? Like, why couldn't Superman have negotiated a different battle zone? Why could, like, people died. People died in Kansas. People died in, what's the city? Metropolis?
Yeah.
Okay.
New York.
The New York. Yeah, like, so many people died. Like, when the world engine is like, boom, 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 pulling them up, sucking them down, like they're being destroyed. The building falls. People are dying. Like, Superman made a choice. And also, why couldn't he have just been like peacekeeping? Like, why couldn't he just been like, hey, like, if it's in my skin cells or whatever, right? Like, we all know how sperm donation works. Like, he could have done that. Like, he could have donated and said, go find a new world. Like, you guys have been here, done this before. Earth doesn't need to be the foundation for this. And, like, I feel like by not having those conversations, and, like, this isn't me being like, oh, diplomacy and communication, but, like, choosing that, like, Superman did what he could for the greater good by sacrificing a large portion of people. And that right there is the ethics in it, where I'm like, those are questionable morals. And I'm not being like, he's a bad guy, and, like, anyone who goes to war and, like, threatens and, like, innocent people have to die. Like, this isn't the train ethics question, right? To save the person you love versus 4 people. This is just, this happened and it sucked and it blew up a lot of people. And that's where the next parts of this story come in. But the Zod fight, I also want to bring up, like, a reference to the Incredibles. No capes. Like, when he's fighting and he, like, tugs his cape, like, straight up, I'm like, see, no capes. Like, this is a weak play. Like, why? Like, I don't know. Like, that's it. Like, I love the fight. It was big. It was beautiful. It was fun. Like, it kept you entertained. The fight did. And
we'll never get another fight like that.
No.
Like you said, superhero movie, the backlash on this of the amount of people that died in that city and the mass destruction of Metropolis, the backlash from the movie-going community was huge at the time.
Wait, really?
Oh, people were livid. Not just that Superman killed somebody, but that they never got to really see Superman save somebody, and the amount of people that died in that in the battle, people hated it and they ragged on it like crazy, to the point where DC is so reactionary that when we watch Batman v Superman, notice that every time they have one of these big battles, someone says in the dialogue, "Oh, they landed on an island. Don't worry, it's uninhabited." Like, they go out of their way to say,
really,
people aren't going to die anymore in these movies, because people were so mad that there was that you actually saw consequences of 2 gods fighting, you know?
Like you should.
In
every other, like, I'm not saying that people have to die, like, in every single movie. That's kind of, like, sadistic or whatever, but, like, the fact that people are so upset that people, like, did die, like, oh my god, like, what do you think is going to happen? These people are literally terraforming the entire freaking world, and no one is going to get hurt and die. Even, like, they're throwing each other through buildings. And even though, like, when we're watching the movie, they don't show, like, you know, Superman throws Zod through a building, and, like, would most likely be the case, you know, it's like some apartment building, there's gonna be some people in there, they're gonna, like, die or something when he throws. They don't show that, but just, like, the amount of destruction that happened was very reasonable, is very realistic. And this is, like, I keep on saying things that I like about the movie, because, like, there's certain things that, like, when other people are like that you just described, oh my goodness, like, so many people died, this isn't cool, and we didn't get to see Superman, like, saving people. Like, this was meant to be a different sort of Superman movie, and it really showed that. And I feel like the complaint that, oh my goodness, like, all of these people died, it's such a realistic. Like, I don't know. That just like
I think
that bothers me.
I think it's very like troublesome from the movie going community, and I'm okay to get backlash from this. Like, we go to these shows like that are military based movies, and we're okay with people dying because that's what the military does. But because of Superman, and we show that, it's not okay. Like, I don't get it, and I don't understand it, because like violence is violence, no matter how it ends, in my opinion. And
now to play devil's advocate,
Okay.
they say Superman should know better. But again, watching the movie, this is Superman who has never really used his powers before. It shows him time and time again getting beat up by bullies, beat up in quotation marks, having to hold back over and over again throughout his life, hiding who he is, and then getting to the point where finally he is able to let all that rage go on somebody and just loses control and just doesn't know how to do it. And he's fighting beings that were literally bred to fight and to destroy, and who has no care about the life, who literally want to kill everybody there. I mean, there's a line in the movie where they say for every one you save, we'll kill 1,000,000.
yeah.
You know, how is he supposed to stop all that destruction? And I think that's what makes me the saddest when I watch these movies is and maybe we are getting back to that point, because we are getting kind of more mature superhero movies like Joker, and the new Suicide Squad is supposed to be like a rated R movie. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be for adults who can kind of handle these kind of things, hopefully. I don't know, maybe that's a poor way to say it. I'm not saying people can't handle it, but
Well, just more emotionally prepared to see something like this, or
explore deeper, darker themes.
Yeah.
In these types of movies. And I hope that we can kind of have that. We don't need Marvel to be everything. We can have a darker DCEU, and we can have light parts of the DCEU, like Aquaman or whatever, or Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to all be the same thing.
That's fair. I don't know. I think I appreciate that DC is the darkness, like the counterpoint to Marvel's bright behavior. But I also want people to recognize that, like, I think in general, like DC is darker than Marvel, isn't it? Like DC, like comics do a lot worse things.
As far as I know, all I've ever really read are Batman comics, so I'm not the person to ask. I guarantee Superman comics are more light.
Yeah.
They are lighter.
Well, they have to be.
They're Superman.
Yeah. But like, I think that the universe, like, we need that like yin and yang to the Marvel universe for sure for this. So I don't know. I still stand that I think that this movie was great. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it was fun. So I don't know. I think we got to round this one up. Do you got any last questions?
Yeah, before we wrap it up, I just want to know, how do you guys feel about that last moment where Superman has to decide whether to kill Zod or let him live?
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is when he's shooting fire, laser, molten lava out of his eyes, and he's pushing it towards like the family of people, right? Yeah. I feel like this is an easier version of the trolley problem. Like Casey mentioned before with like the train thing, like the trolley problem on one track, like you can choose to change it or whatever. On one track you have Zod and you'll kill him and he's planning to kill the entire human race, and on the other track you have like a family of 4. Like, I don't, like, there's the whole, like, question that, like, yes, you can, like, stop him or do something, but, like, in that moment, he's literally, like, about to kill some people. And, you know, however many people, X amount of people already died, so it's not, like, saying that it's acceptable, but, like, in that moment, you literally have, like, 3-4 lives or whatever versus one life of someone who has clearly documented and action shown bad intentions. I think there's zero problemo. And, you know, I don't know a ton about Superman, so I don't know if this would be like a big thing as if we're the same as like Batman with the whole like, oh yeah, he doesn't kill or whatever. Like, I don't know if it's like that. So like I could see that being a problem. I don't know. Like, yeah, there's always like, oh yeah, find another way, do whatever. Like, sure, I guess you could, but it's like in that moment, like, if you really have no other way, and this really is Superman version like 0.1, you know, like, what are you gonna do?
I'm for it. I have no problems with it. I thought it was a good way to end it and to finalize the death of Krypton. Like, I think that showed, like you talked about, like, Zod was a machine bred to protect and destroy. And he even has a line that says, everything I do has this one purpose, which is to protect, to ensure the survival of my race. And here I am, and I will take all means to ensure the survival of my race. Meaning Zod will destroy everything and probably figure out a way at this point to Jimmy rig the thing again. Like, I could imagine that happening. Like, the Kryptonians seem to be clever. But, like, I have no problem with Superman killing. Like, everyone has to, like, this is a terrible example, but, like, I will never recklessly speed again because I lost my driver's license to reckless driving. So Superman, maybe he makes the decision to never kill again because of the one death. I don't know. Bad example, but still, here's how it is. Like, that's what I see it as.
I completely agree. And this is the reason I wanted to bring it up, is because this is a big, like, every time I have a conversation about this movie, it's this moment of Superman doesn't kill people, you know? But again, Casey, you summed up all of the points perfectly. You know, it's not just Superman deciding to save a little tiny family. This is a pivotal decision in Superman's life that's going to carry on throughout the rest of the DCEU if it carries on. You know, he makes this decision of humans or Kryptonians. It's literally the last of his species. If he kills Zod, it's done for him. He has no connection back to his former life. And he chooses in that moment humanity on Earth, to live where he grew up, to save the people of Earth, because this person obviously is crazy, but it's still a sacrifice to him. And I just love that. It's visual, it's storytelling. It doesn't have to be explained away in dialogue to you. You can just look at it from a deeper perspective and kind of understand why he has to do it. And even Zack Snyder said, like, there's a quote from Zack Snyder that I read that was something along the lines of exactly what you said, Casey, of they wanted to make the death impactful. And so that it's this moment that Superman has to choose something, but it's going to be a moment that stays with him forever. It's the moment that he decides, I'm never going to do that again. It doesn't matter how far I'm pushed. I'm never going to kill someone again. You know, It's deep. It's like, it's not deep. It's just impactful. It's just a lesson that even the best of us have to learn lessons. You know, we're not all perfect. We're not all indestructible. Even the best of us have our weakest moments. Those are the type of things that I love about these Zack Snyder movies. They don't flow super well. Story's not super great, but they do have these impactful, beautiful moments that I absolutely love, and I eat up, and I just want to see more and more of it.
Sold. Well, Josh, any last comments?
So in talking about it with you guys, I definitely like discovered that there were a lot more like points that I was like defending or like saying that I liked. There's definitely, I realized like a lot more things that I liked about this movie than I had thought. That being said, like still thinking about it, if you were like, oh yeah, like let's rewatch obviously right now I've watched it very recently, so even more so. But if you're like, yeah, let's watch Man of Steel again in the future, I'm still like, nah, I'm not feeling that, you know? So like I realized that like there are still good things about it, and that like there are like redeeming qualities and things that I found myself like not even just like saying, oh, okay, I guess, but like even defending, saying, hey, no, that was a good decision or whatever. But I would still stand by my not liking it. Okay, the thing is, now I say like not liking it sounds strong. I would just say like, it's not my movie. Like, even though I found things that I liked in it, especially in this conversation, I would stick at like a 2.5 star rating.
Where does it rate in your
like
DCU ranking?
Out of like the 3-4 movies I've seen.
Oh, you haven't seen the whole universe? No. Well, we'll be going through the whole universe.
Okay, well, let's see. I've seen Aquaman, Wonder Woman 1984, the original Justice League, and this one.
You haven't seen BVS yet?
No, I started watching it at a friend's house and we had to leave, so I never finished it. And that movie's like a million years long. And that's one that you like.
Buddy.
You like that one,
I do,
right?
I like it.
I
do like it, but if you think this one's a hot mess, you're in for a ride.
I found an old tweet where it was a Chat Pack podcast. They had retweeted a thing like, what's a movie that you actually genuinely enjoy that's like less than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes? And you said Batman versus Superman.
Ultimate Edition, by the way. It has to be the extended cut.
Ultimate Edition. I said The Kid. Casey said Walter Mitty, which was like 51%, but like close enough.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
So
That's crazy that one's that low. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great. I actually thought about rewatching it today too, so who knows? But Josh, I'm glad that like I can agree. Like it's kind of like it's not my color type thing, right? Like it's like custard, not my thing. But I'm glad we talked about this. I'm glad this was a good finale to Krypton. I'm glad that we had the no capes discussion very briefly. I've been thinking about that the entire time since the movie watch. And also, I want to point out one more thing before we end this. Have you guys watched Big Hero 6? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know the nanobots in Big Hero 6? Mm-hmm. The nanobots and the thing defending the world engine are the same thing. Those are their version of nanobots.
We just got a Marvel DC crossover.
Yeah. You remember the thing chasing him when he's trying to destroy the world engine? Like Superman, when he's like trying to destroy that big thing that's like sending the current through the earth? Well, the snake that's like, yeah, but those are nanobots. Essentially, those are their version of nanobots. So I looked that up and I was like, that's pretty cool, but they don't call them nanobots, but they're like a type of thing that goes. So yeah, well guys, thank you for tuning in to the Man of Steel. And once again, thank you for joining us on the Pause Roll and Play podcast. We love having the gang back together. You know, it's better than the reunion tour of Def Leppard and it's great. We love it. We enjoy it. So you guys have a wonderful week of watching movies and we'll catch you next time.
Hans Zimmer's the best part of this movie.